many minutes,
Yeah.
so I believe you will tell the essence in this time. Thank you for being here.
Thanks for having me in spite of it all. Okay, so can you see my screen, hear my voice, everything good? Very good. So what I decided I'd do is I'd run you through a couple of recommendations and illustrate what they mean with some pictures and some stories from my career as an entrepreneur, and specifically my time at Hello Better. And I thought I'd start with the ultimate entrepreneur advice cliche, and that is focus, which everyone will of course tell you. And yeah, so will I, because it's true. It is really something that's very important, and particularly I think as an entrepreneur, you tend to be optimistic and excited about things, and therefore maybe overlook the complexity and the difficulty. Everything always is more complex and more complicated than you think. Everything takes longer. Everything is more expensive. And therefore, there's only so many things that you can reasonably do at the same time. And that's what makes focus so important, that, you oftentimes, being optimistic, see a lot of opportunities, and there's always a new shiny object that grabs your attention. But focusing on a few things and actually seeing them through is crucial, because and I think that's really the way to think about it, that makes it easier to do it, is to see that these are the stepping stones that then enable you to do more. But you first have to get the basics right before you can think about the next thing. And otherwise you have like 10 different projects started and don't have the resources to see any of them through to completion. So focus, absolutely critical for success, I would say. And that's certainly something I would have told my younger self. Closely related, time. Value your time. I think, I mean, it's another cliche that, your time is the most valuable thing you have. I mean, that's true in life more generally, but especially true as an entrepreneur. I mean, when you raise money, what that ultimately just means is you are giving time to work on this problem. Money equals time and the other way around. And therefore, having being very aware of that and making choices with that in mind, I think is another crucial success factor. So what you'll also see is lots of people, want to connect with you, and certainly, after you've raised funding, and it becomes ever more important to become very conscious of how and where you spend your time. And oftentimes, we want to be nice, we want to be liked, we want to be polite, and then we take time for things that really don't add to what we should be focused on. So it's very important to learn to say no in a nice way. And I think what people often do is they kind of make up all sorts of excuses. Oh, I'm very busy, and yeah, let's do it next week, and so on. And I think it's much better for the person that you're talking to, as well as for yourself, to be really honest about this and say, look, of course I could take time for this, but I am on a mission here, and I have set out for myself that I want to achieve certain objectives. I can only do that if I focus and invest my time working on the things that are really important to get that done. And therefore, I need to prioritize what I'm doing right now. So basically, not just saying like, "Oh yeah, I'm busy," or "We'll do it another time." To just say like, "Sorry, I can't take time for this because my time is taken up by driving forward what I've set out to do." And that will, like, being honest that way will make you feel better, and it's also a clear message that people typically respect. And frankly, like, the reactions are, it's much better than ghosting people and not answering. Just send them a sentence saying like, look, I'm super focused on what I'm doing right now. I simply can't make time for it. Really sorry. And I wish you all the best. Or ask them, what I often do is like, can you say in one sentence or in a couple of questions, that I can answer in bullet points, what it is that you need, or what do you, if I can help you in 5 minutes, I'll do it, but I won't take half an hour to listen to the whole story and make it a big meeting. So that's another way to not just say no. Questions, very important. I think particularly as an entrepreneur pitching to investors, you always think about, you know, having all, it's very important to have all the answers. And it's true, I mean, you have to be clear about, you know, what you're doing and why you're doing it and how you're going to succeed, and sort of throw out all the answers. But it's equally important to also have questions. Questions about what is it that maybe isn't working yet? Why is it not working? You know, I mean, most famously, of course, you know, customer needs, the people whose problems you try to solve. Do you really understand them? That's and I think it's important to have these questions that you're wondering about ready for when you're in conversations with customers, potential customers, people from the industry, investors, to be curious and learn about their perspective. This is certainly something that I've done wrong, I would say, early on in my career, and I think still I could do a lot better, because I have a tendency that I feel I need to have all the answers, and that quickly then comes across as sort of being defensive, and what you want to sort of convey, and what you also want to live is being open-minded and yeah, in a perpetual spirit of intellectual curiosity and learning. This one might be difficult to guess what I'm trying to get at here. It ain't over until the fat lady sings, is a proverb. So what it means is that yeah, don't celebrate too early. You know, there can always be last minute complications, and you don't want to be the guy whose head she's holding there. So I mean, we had that with BfArM, the German regulatory agency. You know, they kind of, you know, in this 3-month process, you don't hear much from them, and then until the last few days, when suddenly they bombard you with questions which take a lot of time and effort to answer. And yeah, it's really on the last day typically that our applications for regulatory approval were finally decided, and sometimes you know, they even sort of extended the deadline, and I mean the same is true with investors. I mean, we've had 2 term sheets pulled and 1 signed term sheet not honored by investors at Hello Better. Also had that happen to me twice at Diversity. So it's yeah, it's good to be optimistic, but you should also yeah, keep in mind that things might not work out, and plan accordingly. So some contingency planning and a plan B should always be somewhere in the drawer. This one is maybe equally cryptic. The business partner of my dad always used to say, you can shit on my pancake, I'll still cut off the edges. So I think one key thing to success is resilience, and yeah, getting back up when you're down. So what I just said, like when the head has just been cut off and the term sheet's been pulled, don't let that yeah, keep you down. Dust yourself up, get back up, and keep going. It's there, you know, it's almost never really the end. I mean, there's always a way you can take a shitty situation and turn it around. At Diversity, for example, we went through insolvency, which was of course pretty bad, but it was also an opportunity, because suddenly, you know, we got rid of a lot of things that made it difficult to raise funding, and got an opportunity to start with a clean slate. And suddenly we were an interesting seed case with, you know, a lot of assets and a 100% team cap table, which then allowed us to raise fresh money in the course of 6 weeks to start over again. So yeah, so find the bits of the pancake that are still worth eating. With that, closely related, it's a marathon, not a sprint. It's another cliche, certainly true. And one of the learnings and advice for my younger self here would be is take that break, take that vacation. At Diversity, I took 9 weeks of vacation in 6 years. That was a dumb idea because when you're that exhausted or on sort of almost on autopilot, you don't have the energy and the wherewithal to take the hard decisions and question what you're doing and say, take a step back and say, is what we're doing really working? Are we doing the right things right? These are the questions that you constantly have to ask yourself. And when you don't have that kind of energy level to tackle tough projects and ask hard questions, then you'll just sort of chug along and do in German you say Dienst nach Vorschrift, like perform your duty as it says in your job description, but there isn't really a job description for an entrepreneur. I mean, you constantly have to reinvent the company and yourself in order to succeed, particularly as an early stage company when you're maybe product market fit or early scaling, but there's a lot of stuff that still needs to be figured out, where it's not just doing what has made this company successful for decades over and over again, but really trying to figure out what it is that this company should be doing. And for that, you need energy, and because this is not something that you do once, this is something that you do over and over and over again. And therefore, take that break, take that vacation. Also, you can't go alone. Build a great team. It's really important that it's not just you in the ivory tower or in your corner room office, but you have other people that you can rely on that also carry the business. I mean, you might get sick. You might go through some sort of personal crisis where a breakup or a family member dying, things like that. It's really important that there are other people there who perform at the same level that you trust, that you can rely on, and so you can push each other and support each other on this journey, because, well, as I said, it's a marathon, not a sprint, right? And you don't want to run a marathon by yourself. There's this good saying, right? If you go fast, go alone. If you go far, go together. And I think that's certainly true for startup teams. For these team members to really be successful, though, one thing that's important is to trust them. And what this illustrates is the art of letting go. So delegate responsibility, trust, praise, challenge, but yeah, don't try to do everything yourself. Ideally, you build a team where you're not the smartest person in the room, because yeah, you want to work with people that challenge you, that bring different skills to the table, and then you can let go and let them take over. And it's a beautiful thing to see that evolve if they do something that you never could have done yourself, and it was your contribution to sort of provide the framework within which they can succeed, and the resources. I mean, that's how I see my role actually on Slack. The CEO stands for Chief Empowerment Officer internally, because yeah, that's how I see my role is raising funding, providing resources and direction, but the execution is of course done by largely by the team. Also, ask for advice. There are lots of people out there that have amazing experience, that have done it before, that can be tremendously helpful. And don't be shy to ask for help. Reach out. You'd be surprised how many people react quite positively if you if you tell them this is where I'm at, this is my challenge, and if they've been there, then they often can empathize with that very well and will try to help you as best they can. So find a mentor or a group of mentors that are willing to share their wisdom and support you on your journey. And similarly important, this stands for karma, pay it forward. So as I said at the beginning, it's important to say no sometimes, but it's also, I think, important to support other people in the ecosystem that are on a similar journey. Whenever you can help, you should. It's what goes around comes around, and supporting junior entrepreneurs, I think it's important for the ecosystem, and one way or another, it will pay off for you one day. So do take that time, and if it's not the 30-minute call, then write that intro email, even if it's 11 o'clock at night. I particularly find it really rewarding that when you got to a certain position, you can, by spending very little time, help someone tremendously, and it means the world to them. If you wrote that intro email that got them the funding, and that's something that you can then be happy about, and that gives you some energy on your journey to see that you've been able to help other people succeed. That's certainly something that in our stress intervention, our therapy course, we talk about energy boosters. So there are certain topics that drain energy and others, or tasks that give you energy. And I think helping people can be a tremendous energy booster. So do take time for that, at least occasionally. And last but not least, have fun. I think that's really important. I recently saw this tweet that I really liked. It was about finding a partner to marry. It said, don't look for a partner to marry. Look for a person that you enjoy spending time with, and then marry that person. And I think you could say something similar about building a company. I mean, you shouldn't build a company to, I don't know, prove something to yourself or the world, or to become rich, but build a company that you enjoy building with people that you enjoy working with. And then if the result of that is that that you become a massive success, and that you earn a lot of money, or whatever it is that motivates you, you help 1 million people, that's great. But you should have fun in the process, don't drag yourself to work every day because you feel like you need to be an entrepreneur, or you need to build a company because your dad ran a company or something like that. It should be something that you inherently enjoy, and that makes you feel like the guy in this picture. Maybe not every day, but most of the time. And with that, I'm done.
Actually, just on time. Thank you for the inspiring presentation and for the valuable advices. I took some notes here, and I'll try to follow some of the guidance. But I have one question for you from the audience, which is, if you pick just one, what would be the most important advice to you or our younger selves?
Yeah, I mean, it depends, of course, on the situation, right? I started with focus for a reason. It's typically, I think, as I said, it's a bit cliche, but a lot of the other things become so much easier if you focus on specific thing, and then try to do the right things right.
Great. I like your last message. Have fun. Do the things you love with the people you like.
Yeah,
It's not always possible, but
that's
yeah.
actually do something that matters with people that don't suck. That's also a good piece of advice.
I loved it. Thank you, Hannes, for your participation. It was a pleasure. And I believe that we will have other points of contact and opportunities to collaborate in the future. Thank you once again.
Wonderful. And sorry for being late again. Sorry.
No worries. Greetings from Sofia.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.